everyone. This is BSP Burning Spirit Patriot back again with another video along with Libby Lou Patriot. One Patriot podcast coming at you once again. So tonight's topic is going to be about the elections. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah. So we had some positive results. Very positive results. A man who has no experience politically or in the political world, Glenn Youngkin, has come out of nowhere and won the gubernatorial election in Virginia. That was against a Clintonian Democrat, establishment Democrat, Terry McAuliffe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can never pronounce his name right.
I know.
Well, sorry about that. Excuse me. Yes, he came out of nowhere, and this was back in August. I think he was down. August and September, he was down by almost 10 points, and it was a kind of a scenario where the Democrats just shot themselves in the foot. This is a state that is pretty blue. I think it's been over 10 years since they've had a Republican governor.
Yeah, I believe it was 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the last time they had a Republican governor. So super exciting, super upsetting to the left.
Yes, they're having a complete meltdown at the moment.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. I've done some research about Glenn Youngkin, and I'm not there were some things that I made me go about Glenn Youngkin after the research that I've seen.
Like what in particular? Just like
I don't know. Like I feel like he ran on a lot of things that were important to me, like getting into the culture war and not spending the entire campaign of like lower my taxes, or smaller government type of typical Republican campaign rhetoric.
Yeah.
He was deep into the culture war. He really tapped in to the concerns of the parents, and he hopped on that bandwagon and really he ran a great campaign.
That was smart strategy.
Very smart strategy. There were some things, the more I look into Glenn Youngkin, the more, like I said, it makes me go, So first, he was an executive of the Carlyle Group. You've heard of the Carlyle Group. Yes. Michael Moore has talked about him in his Fahrenheit 9/11 video, our movie, documentary. And it shows that company, it's like a financing company, corporation. They benefited a lot from that, and that company has very close ties to the Bush family. Now, I'm not saying that Youngkin is going to be this establishment, like globalist type of guy that looks out for his corporate crony friends, but it was just something that made me go,
Yeah.
Makes me like kind of look at him from a side eye.
Yeah.
And the fact when, his political opponent asked him about the January 6th insurrection, he was so quick to condemn everyone that participated in that whole event. He didn't separate. Okay, you got guys that were there that were acting violent or whatever, which was very minimum. But there were some people that broke a couple of windows. There were some people who were, fighting law enforcement. But for the most part, the majority, vast, overwhelming majority of those guys were essentially peaceful, and they were ushered in by Capitol Police. And
door wide open.
Yeah, door wide open, and you can see the police. There's video on this. And it just made me upset that he didn't separate those.
From a strategy point, I can see why he didn't, because he's going for that. Basically, those moderates that swung to Biden previously, I think that's what he was.
I know, and he needed those people to win. And it's like, yeah, I understand that. We want to win. But it's just nice. It just would be nice to have a real guy in there, Yeah. Like a real guy or girl, whatever, in there. That is just like, you're not going to be able to break him or her. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to, I need to do this because politically this is good. I need to, like...
Basically, we need Ron DeSantis everywhere, but that's not I
don't know. What is Ron DeSantis' stance on January 6th? Have we looked that up yet?
Actually, I don't know. That's an excellent point. I don't know.
Because, a lot of those people's constitutional rights are being violated, and the only thing they did was walk into the Capitol as if the Capitol does not belong to us.
Yep.
They disrupted a process, but the ones that didn't.
The only real violence was Ashley Babbitt's death.
Yeah, and they like to talk about.
Well, I shouldn't say that. Sorry, let me backtrack. There were some outbreaks outside of the Capitol building, within the Capitol itself. That's the only true violence was.
Yeah,
Ashley Babbitt's death.
The only person who actually died that day was Ashley Babbitt. The only person who was murdered that day was Ashley Babbitt. And I saw on CNN they were still pushing this fake narrative. I couldn't believe it. They were like, the police officers that died that day. What are you talking about? They're still pushing that. I didn't think they were still pushing that.
Straight up lies. They're going to push it, and they're going to start pushing it even more, I feel like, especially that they're going to suck dry every bit of juice from that story that they can, because they see, from Youngkin winning, I don't think they've learned their lesson. I don't think they're going to learn their lesson from this very clear, red wave is
nobody cares about no damn January 6th anymore, except for Democrats. Independents don't give a damn about January 6th. They don't care. January 6th is irrelevant to them. What? The only thing they can do right now to galvanize, I don't see what the benefit of talking about January 6th is. It doesn't help their ratings. It doesn't help them politically.
They're going to push it because they're terrified of Trump coming back. And that's what they have to cling on to.
Terrified of Trump coming back. They saw that talking about Trump didn't work in this last election. They tried their damnedest to cling Youngkin to Trump.
Did you see that mail-in or that mailer?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, his name, his opponent.
Terry McAuliffe?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. He sent out a flyer, essentially, that had Youngkin on it. It was like a pro Youngkin
like an endorsement
kind of that had Trump on it.
Yeah.
Is like basically he's Donald Trump, and I think that was I understand what they were trying to do, but they failed miserably. That was so stupid.
That was like I honestly think that it did the 180 opposite.
Yeah.
I think that it actually helped him. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, this proves that Youngkin can win without being connected to Trump. But, if you heard what Youngkin said, he said something along the lines like he accepted the endorsement and he appreciates Donald Trump and he thanked Donald Trump. And he said a lot of positive things about Donald Trump. So this idea about that this guy is trying to distance himself, he probably just didn't need him to campaign. Like what?
Yeah.
Like you got to think about this thing, strategically. He needed to get in those white suburban women, right? Yep. That was lost in. Excuse me, sorry. In 2020, and that may be a reason why, some of these women decided to go to Glenn Youngkin because there was no. But I don't know. I don't know if I totally think that would have made a difference. I think that things were.
You don't think
so bad, huh?
You don't think Trump's endorsement would have made a difference?
No, I don't think that him distancing himself from Trump made that much of a difference. I think that the stakes were like way higher than just Trump. I don't think that, because no matter how hard they tried, it didn't even matter. Like it used to hold some kind of weight, but it doesn't hold weight anymore. I just don't think that the whole thing of being connected to Trump is
as negative or lightning rod.
Yeah, it's not like a lightning rod as much as I thought. Because if you look at everyone that Donald Trump has endorsed, and I think it's been over 150 people, only two lost.
I thought it was 3. Either way.
No, I'm talking about like since he's become president up until President Day. He's endorsed up to, I think it was like 150 people, and only 2 lost. That's a pretty good.
I'd say that's a kingmaker.
Yeah, that's a pretty damn good record.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a myth that a lot of the establishment Republicans try to push, but I don't know. I mean, there are some people that I do not like that he endorsed.
Yeah.
That ended up winning.
That ended up, I don't want to see it. That basically like turned their back on Trump.
Yeah, basically, because he had endorsed some guys. They took his endorsement. They rode his coattails. And then once they got into office, they were just like, well, screw you,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is one of the reasons. And, the same, God, what's the guy's name that's running in, that just ran in New Jersey? He did an excellent job, actually.
Yeah, that was razor thin.
Yeah, he did an excellent job for that campaign and that political race, because this is New Jersey we're talking about. New Jersey is deep, deep blue, and for him to get that close without a Donald Trump endorsement, that's pretty damn impressive.
Yep,
that's pretty damn impressive. But Donald Trump doesn't like him.
I wonder why.
Huh?
I wonder why. Has he said why?
Because he ever since Donald Trump announced his presidency, this guy's been talking crap about Donald Trump.
Oh.
He's never liked Donald Trump. But recently, he tried to get on the Donald Trump bandwagon and be like, oh yeah, Donald Trump, he tried to get his endorsement like all through his campaign, and he tried to, that's probably why he got. And then Donald Trump was just like silent. He was just like, he didn't say anything. He just let it happen. But in a recent interview, he was just like, yeah, I don't know about this guy. He was talking a lot of stuff about me in the beginning, and I'm not gonna, I endorsed the other guy. So he endorsed the other guy. He just never acknowledged the guy. He didn't say anything good or he didn't say anything bad about him. But he endorsed the other guy that was running against him in the primary. And that guy ended up losing. That was one of the guys that I said.
One of the two?
Yeah.
Interesting.
One of the two.
Fix that. So I'm curious, though, with all of this, part of the narrative we're hearing from the left is racism won with Youngkin.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how long they're going to push this narrative.
No, I don't really care. I really don't care. That means nothing to me.
Well, I know, like
they're. I'm not worried about their little racism campaign, their racism card, like that. That literally that. There were independents and Democrats that voted for Youngkin.
Right.
That racism card does not work anymore. The racism card is like it's been beaten so badly. It's like.
But when are they gonna I
say let them keep doing it. I'm
exactly, but I'm just like, are they really not seeing
I guess not.
Okay.
I'm just not concerned about it. I honestly, I'm not trying to downplay the topic that you're bringing up, but it's just so insignificant to me. This is going to come up every single election. This is what they do every single election. And people are just numb to it now. It used to be something that was, potent, but it's not anymore. And these last elections, whole thing, this last election, and then the election in 2022 and in 2024, we're going to see how relevant this racism BS is.
So I think it's relevant in the sense that, just like Youngkin did, campaigning against, racist CRT is going to be relevant, and it is going to win campaigns.
Yeah,
so
you definitely want to fight back, and you definitely want to, but you should do it in a way where it's just like, don't try to be like, oh no, I'm not a racist. Right. You shouldn't do it like that. That's the wrong way to go about it, because then you're on defense. You should be like, the way that he did it was, this is BS. This is crap. Critical race theory is crap. Critical race theory is garbage. Critical race theory is anti-white. Critical race theory is a bogus theory.
Right.
It shouldn't be, I'm not a racist. My kid is not a racist. Like, it shouldn't even be like that. It should be like, no, well, F you.
Yep.
It should be from a standpoint of offense. I don't know how I don't know exactly how you would do that, but like, it should be, if it's not coming from a standpoint of offense, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't like being on the defense with these people.
I fully agree with that. So I guess I'm wondering then, as I'm thinking through things, okay, so if Democrats wise up coming into 2022, looking at the next presidential election, if they catch on and they're like, okay, CRT, this racism card isn't working anymore, and they shift their narrative, I guess what's the next strongest platform for conservatives to run on aside from the typical, like you're mentioning, like the taxes, smaller government,
okay, you're saying if the Democrats, I'm trying to make it clear, if the Democrats get away from this more racism stuff and culture war stuff, and they start running on, what would they run on then?
I don't know.
They can't run on anything else. Their ideas suck.
Yeah. I mean,
they want
clearly,
open borders.
We saw the infrastructure bill failed.
Yeah, their ideas suck. The infrastructure bill, the only reason why the infrastructure bill, which I think is way too much money, but there was some bipartisan agreement to the bill. It should be separated, number one, but the Democrats are trying to put these bills together. They're trying to cram everything into one big, bill, omnibus spending bill, whatever you want to call it. And they're trying to cram it through. But the infrastructure bill, God, I lost my train of thought.
Democrats, what are they going to run on?
Oh yeah. The infrastructure bill, they need to run that separately. You can't. There's nothing. What do they have to run on? Like, their ideas suck.
They do suck terribly, and I think the only thing that they'll have to run on is if Trump runs again. They have their boogeyman back, and so their entire campaign will be anti-Trump, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, what are the things that people are most concerned about now? Economy, employment, inflation.
I saw this suggestion that he should be Speaker of the House. Donald Trump. It's very interesting. I just don't think that he would.
That's beneath him.
I think that is beneath him. He's a guy that is larger than life. He has to be the man.
Yeah.
He's not going to take a backseat to anybody, the presidency or nothing.
Nope.
Like, he's not a politician. He's not a political guy that is going to take a backseat to anything.
But what was the suggestion? Like, why was that presented?
I don't know. I just saw that somewhere. I think it was more along the lines so he can, if he becomes the Speaker of the House, then he can dictate the agenda for the Republicans, the way that Nancy Pelosi dictates the agenda for the Democrats. That is a very powerful position.
It is.
That's where everything starts. Is the House. They decide what is going to get voted on, and then once they decide that, then it's going to go to the Senate, and then the Senate is they're the ones that are like, okay, we'll sign off on it.
Yep.
But the House is where it's like, all right, that's where things begin.
Go ahead.
The Senate, they're good at what they do is they confirm judges and stuff like that. But I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I just wondered if you had seen I believe it was Jack Posobiec that posted something about Pelosi retiring, through the
midterms.
I don't know about exactly when that wasn't stated, but just word on the grapevine is that she's going to be retiring, which at that point, if Pelosi retires, the other thing too is who do they have as a presidential candidate? Because we know Biden's not gonna. He's not even going to make it through this term.
You're wondering who the Democrats are going to run. I think they're going to have to go and get an outsider, honestly.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to run anybody that's establishment. They're going to have to run and get Michelle Obama. They're going to have to run and get Oprah.
Oh.
They're going to have to run and get, they're going to have to get somebody. If Donald Trump runs, they're going to have to run, because you're not going to run any of these establishment Democrats against Donald Trump, and you're not going to win it. They gotta have their own, they've got to run somebody that's from the outside. Yeah,
because they don't have anybody that could.
None of these guys can beat Donald Trump. I don't think Kamala Harris.
No, she would get annihilated.
I don't think that Biden is going to beat Trump this time. Trump is going to destroy him because there's a complete contrast. We will have, at that point, we will have the contrast.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, my bank account was fat. My gas was $1.60 a gallon, until COVID hit.
Yep.
And we saw that Biden couldn't handle COVID any better than Trump did. So it was okay, well, at least with Trump, before the COVID hit, I still had my pocketbook fat. Mm-hmm. It's the economy, stupid.
Still had my freedoms.
I still had my freedoms. Yep. That's going to be, they're going because at this point, they're going to have a stark contrast. Yeah, a contrast. Yeah. So there's no way that people are going to vote for Biden. The Democrats are going to have to go out and get an outsider.
Michelle Obama is an interesting
one. But I don't think that Michelle Obama is necessarily an outsider, just from political experience.
Exactly.
And she's just not going to have any. But that's okay. She's not going to need any because
she's got Barack.
She's got Barack Obama, and she's really an establishment. She should be she'll be like a vessel.
Yeah.
She'll check all the boxes. I think she'll be an excellent candidate that they can run.
She'll be like the Kamala of presidents.
Yeah, she'll be Kamala. She'll definitely be another Kamala, but God, they love her. I was telling you about the black mammy. She's like a black mammy that white women are going to just gravitate to. If they run Michelle Obama, I think Donald Trump will have a lot to worry about.
Yeah.
A lot to worry about. Unless they run like a DeSantis. If they run a DeSantis, then if they run Michelle Obama, I think they should run Ron DeSantis.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Why?
Because look at what's going to happen. They're going to try to. Here's what they're going to do. You run Michelle Obama against Donald Trump. That is like the perfect media scenario. Racist orange Cheeto white man versus strong black woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Former first lady going up against the evil white man Cheeto heterosexual male. Wow, that you couldn't write that. That's a Hollywood story. If they ran that, they would be able to make a Hollywood movie off of that. And then Michelle Obama wouldn't even really have to do anything. All she would have to do is show up. And then everybody else, if you can drag old ass freaking Biden across the finish line, half awake, sleepy Joe Biden across the finish line, all Michelle Obama has to do is show up and smile. And I think that it will be very hard for Donald Trump. I think he will be fighting an uphill battle. I honestly do. And it sucks to say that and admit that. But you got to understand, the white women love them some perceived strong black women. They love them. I don't know why. I don't know what the appeal is, but they love them. Like suburban white women I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They love Michelle Obama. It's that, I don't know. They love to rock with women like that. Especially the feminists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not all feminists. Not all.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Don't put us all on a box.
But it's true though.
But no, for the majority, you're absolutely accurate. But okay, instinctively I would feel that Michelle Obama running for president against Ron DeSantis, I feel like Ron DeSantis would just get washed out.
Really?
Yeah, that would be because he's built a name for himself.
The star power?
I don't think he has the star power yet. I think, maybe further down the line, but I don't. I think you would have to have someone as dynamic as Donald Trump to run against someone like Michelle Obama. Otherwise, I think Ron DeSantis would lose against Michelle Obama.
Do you think Donald Trump would beat Michelle Obama?
It would be close, but I think it would invigorate more. I think there would be more people invigorated to turn out to vote for Trump than there would be to turn out for DeSantis.
I mean, I could see that. I think white men will come out in droves for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Like, white men would come out like a vengeance for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump would have to be 2016 Donald Trump, not this 2020 Donald Trump. If you know what I mean. Yeah,
the identity.
2016 Donald Trump was epic.
Yeah.
That is the best Donald Trump. This 2020 Donald Trump. Oh, I did criminal justice reform, and I did the First Step Act in black historical black colleges, and all this pandering and all this BS.
Well, now he's learned it doesn't work,
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't move the needle within the black community. You gotta understand what you're dealing with the black community. This is what I wish Donald Trump should have got like a realist, he should have. I don't know who the hell his advisor was, man. He had too many liberals around him, man. He needs to get rid of these liberals. He needs to get a guy.
Do you think he'll pull in Candace Owens?
But Candace Owens is essentially a liberal. Like, when you look at her, it's like the way that she fights is like a liberal in a liberal style. She would be proud of the black historical colleges getting all kinds of funding and the identity politics. She plays identity politics. And if you look at, I'm not downing her. I love Candace Owens. No. I think that she's great. But like bringing in Candace Owens, that would not move the needle for Donald Trump, man. Donald Trump needs to tap into his base. White men, period. White men. White men still outnumber everybody else. He's going to get some Hispanics. White men still outnumber all the other groups of men. Like if we're talking about blacks, Hispanics, Asians.
Still the most prominent demographic.
Still the most prominent demographic when we're talking about sheer numbers.
Yeah.
He's going to lose some white women. Don't get me wrong, but he's still going to have some other white women too. And then he's also going to have some Hispanics as well. But he has to tap into that 2016 Donald Trump. I think, I mean, like I think 2016 Donald Trump would actually beat Michelle Obama. Now that I think about it, I think it would. I think he would beat Michelle Obama. But he has to go back to that. Ruthless, he has to win on divisiveness. That's how he wins.
Yep.
Draw the line in the sand. This is how we're going to win. The country's going to be divided, but it's already divided. I mean, you get the so-called moderate that's in there that's supposed to bring everybody together, and the country's divided even more than when Trump was in. So Trump has got to say, screw that. We're not playing these games anymore. Draw the line. This is where the country is heading. That's how they're playing on the other side.
Yep.
I'm tired of these, we got to be unify the country. And no. We don't gotta unify nothing. Like
No,
this is
we have to
we're too
save
far,
the country.
Yes, we have to save it. This is
and then
too
we
far,
can work on unity.
Yeah, this is too far gone, man. We're too far gone to ever get back to how we used to be. I don't think there's too much that has happened. Too many people their lives have been ruined.
I think we will get back to it. I think it's going to be a long road. I'm talking like a couple decades down the line.
It's got to be like a few decades after Donald Trump is long and gone, but we got to get the country on the right track.
Right.
Like as far as like culturally, as far as economically.
Yeah, fiscally for sure.
Yes. Fiscally, yes. All of that all has to be back on track before we even think about being unified. And it's kind of like you kind of have to destroy and then rebuild kind of thing. I don't know, man. Like Donald Trump, if he goes back and he runs again, he's got to remember what got him there in the first place. Like draw a start. Yes, you're gonna. But that's the only chance that you have. You know what I mean? You're going to be divisive, but that's the only chance that you have.
But I don't think the divide is going to be as... I think there's going to be greater divide by 2024.
Yeah.
But I don't think the divide is going to be as heavy... Or I shouldn't say as equally down the middle. I think it's going to lean heavily in his favor.
Yeah.
Because people are waking up. They're like, what is this?
And I think that... Also, he'll get some of I think he'll get some of those white women back. He just has to come, like when he's speaking.
I think they're there, like we saw with Youngkin. Like, I don't know. I've said before
they're there, but we kind of do have to give Youngkin some credit because a lot of those women were Democrats. If we're gonna be honest about ourselves, like. Who was the one that was leading the way with this whole I don't like what they're teaching my kids in school? It was a Muslim woman. I forget her name. She used to go to the school board meetings and read verbatim from the books. Like, you guys are teaching CRT. I have the receipts. I have the proof. She was going on CNN just destroying everybody. And when they would try to accuse her of being, some far right, she's like, no, I'm actually a liberal and I'm actually a Democrat and I can see this.
Yeah.
So if I can see this, what do you think everybody else is seeing? Yeah. So there was a lot of those that voted for Youngkin.
True. And I think you bring up an important point too, that I get a little bit guilty of this, and I'm trying to keep myself in check, is not, essentially resting on our laurels, even with this small victory for conservatives. I mean, it's huge victory, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty small. So not taking that, not just being like, oh, cool, red wave. I think, we need to continue to encourage and speak up.
I'm gonna disagree on it not being big. I think it is big. I think it's a huge victory for the Republicans, and I think it's indicative of what's going to happen in 2022. Absolutely. But like you said, you got to keep the foot on the gas. Don't get complacent. The Republicans have to keep pushing that message. We are on your side when it comes to like as far as the parents, we are on your side. And the more that the Republicans push that, the more reactionary the Democrats are going to be. Because you know what the Democrats are going to be? Oh, the Republicans these parents are siding with the Republicans, which means that they're white supremacists. And all you're going to do is piss off the parents even more. Exactly. So if Republicans keep saying we're on your side and start listening to the parents and what they want, the Democrats, they're so reactive. They're so emotional. They're so like, oh, you can't side with them. You're racist. you're sexist, you're homophobic, you're all these, whatever. So
people are building up a oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Republicans have to don't just get complacent with these wins, man. You just have to keep your foot on the gas.
Yep.
They need to be aggressive, being like every Republican governor should ban CRT. Like in any kind of CRT or DEI, it should be banned. Like be aggressive with it.
Yeah. Well, so coming back to a little bit more locally, man, Ducey needs to come in. Sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. So yes, doing exactly what you just said, but also enforcing it. So Arizona just came out today. Arizona Board of Education, Department of Education sent out a letter saying like, nope, we have the right to mandate vaccines, we have the right to mandate masks, and we have the right to implement critical race theory. Essentially, F you, Ducey, is what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do about it, Ducey? Like, step up. Like these parents are getting angry. I'm on these chains with, hundreds of parents that are angry.
The Board of Education, like, was it the Supreme Court or was it the...
So apparently there was some ruling from the Supreme Court. I haven't looked into it. I didn't have a lot of time today to know exactly what the Supreme Court said. But there was a ruling, and how... the Arizona Board of Education is presenting it is that means that schools can implement vax mandates, mask mandates.
Oh, they I don't know what their strategy. Do they not know? Like Arizona is still culturally pretty conservative, even though they may be, liberal in a lot of ways. It's still culturally red here. Yeah. And if you go on trying to interject that CRT stuff, I don't understand what is the game plan for these? I mean, what is the end game for these people? Like, what are you trying to... I welcome it. I kind of welcome it, because all you're going to do is you're just going to have another... Virginia situation. Yep. That's all you're going to do. You're just going to have another Virginia situation. Yep.
Well, I know there is talk about, and we'll see if parents actually stick with it, but a lot of talk about mass exodus from public schools. Like if this gets implemented, at least in the area we're at, there is orchestration to pull kids out of school, and I think that that's a strong possibility, which means schools are going to lose funding. And so money talks. So we'll see if they take that, and these board of educators take that into consideration. Yeah. But
we need those same operatives that were in Virginia that pushed, the envelope and pushed the agenda for these parents and galvanized these parents.
Yes.
That, I wish we had, the contact information.
I know.
Of the people who were organizing that stuff in Virginia. And see what kind of I mean, if they start implementing this CRT and this mask mandates and all this, vaccine mandates for these kids here, and they start trying to do that here. Yep. Because, I mean, I don't think Arizona is so far gone. I mean, it's just one election that is.
But I don't think Arizona is so far gone. But to your point about organizing, that has to happen, and I see it formulating, anecdotally at least. But I've seen firsthand orchestration on the left that is causing... Maybe we'll do a video on that once I get more concrete details. Yeah. Call in Project Veritas. But there's some shady stuff going on.
I remember we were talking about that. Yeah.
Yep. So Can't talk about it too much yet, but maybe we'll
once
make
you
a
get more
story
information
soon.
on that, or if you know, it's just crazy how that whole situation happened. But that's we could talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But I think. What do you think we talked about the strategy for the Democrats and I want to know what the strategy for the Republicans are going to be. Like we talk about the Democrats and we don't know what their strategy is going to be. It seems like they're doubling down. I personally don't know what their strategy is. I think the reason why they're doubling down on this whole, race card thing and they're racist is because they have nothing else.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they can't run on the economy. The economy is in the crapper right now. I mean, you can talk about the stock market, but like, I mean, how is that relevant to the everyday person? It's not really relevant to the everyday person.
Especially
the border, you can't run on secure border. You can't run on like
Republicans hold all the cards right now as far as like campaigning goes. I think they could pick any of those things you just listed and drive those home. Like you also mentioned earlier, they can't be. Taxes are, yes, important and relevant, but I don't think that's going to win elections.
Yeah. I mean, you want to say that to make sure your base is,
But the thing is,
happy. But like,
sorry, let me make one quick point. They need to do those things, and they need to touch on Joe Biden and how bad he's being, but they can't run a similar to how the Democrats did against Trump.
Yeah.
They can't run an anti-Joe Biden campaign.
They can't. They have to push.
They have to have solutions.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I said earlier. They had like these. They have to run a ban on CRT.
Yeah.
They have to be aggressive with like gun rights. They have to be aggressive like. Why is it every time the Democrats they have like an agenda, like they like, we're going to make sure that we protect women's right in choice of their what they can do with their bodies, as far as like abortion. We are going to protect the rights of illegal immigrants. We are going to do. They have a straight up. What is the straight up like agenda? Like Democrats, when they want something, they have tunnel vision.
Yeah. Tunnel vision.
What is the tunnel vision agenda or topic that Republicans are just like, we're going to do this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That has to be outlined, and it hasn't yet. I haven't checked the GOP website recently. It was all anti-Biden. That's all there was previously. Yeah. Maybe it's updated since I've looked at it, but that's exactly right. Like, we need tunnel vision and drive it home.
Yes,
right? Like
the topic or the issue or the agenda. What are you going to? I don't want to hear about lower taxes, man. I understand that. That is, everybody knows you want lower taxes.
Yes,
that's fine. What is the tunnel vision? What are you going to do as far as like, we can go back to the culture war, whether it's the culture war. We talk about the border every day. Like, what are you going to do specifically for the border? Like when Donald Trump was running, he had I'm getting my wall. I want the wall. He wasn't able to finish it, but at least, he had something that he was, passionate about.
Yep.
Even Biden with his Build Back Better, that's his tunnel vision. What as a whole, the Republicans, what do they have except for being a speed bump for the Democrats?
It would be a smart think you're right. A speed bump. Honestly, I think it's going with saving our future, which is children, right?
They're gonna I feel like that's a good,
the strongest thing that they could possibly run on.
Agreed. I think they need to. You know how the Democrats are about, well, think about the kids. What about the kids? The Republicans, excuse me, they need to take that same strategy. What about the kids? Think about the kids. They need to turn around and flip it.
Exactly.
Your kids are getting destroyed because of the Democrat lockdowns. They need to push a strong, tough agenda. Schools are never going to be locked down again. Okay? CRT will never be taught in any capacity when it comes to how, as far as states go, right? They need to do something federally and make sure they can do something federally. Get their lawyers together, make sure they can do something federally. I don't care if it's book burning or whatever you want to call it. Make sure that it's not taught in grade school or elementary.
Yep.
Make sure it's not taught in high school. College, whatever. That's their own stuff. But like when it comes to these schools that are publicly, funded by taxpayer dollars, and I think that colleges are still subsidized by the government, but at least we can say that's college. You know what I mean? But to me, all children have to go through elementary.
Yep.
All children have to go through junior high and middle school, high school. They have to do that. They are required to do that.
Yep.
You don't have to go to college. So that's the difference. But make sure that there's something federally that's in place to ban CRT from the school. That needs to be, I feel like that is the perfect tunnel vision or topic that the Republicans can get behind, because what it does is it taps into the parents. Mm-hmm. It shows the parents that they care about their kids. It shows the parents that they have the
best
Republicans,
interest.
Their best interests at heart. They have their backs. They're standing with them. That is, especially the suburban white women who have families. They don't want their kids being told that they're inherently evil. Yep. What are the Republicans going to do federally? That would be
perfect. Because again, anecdotally, but I think about where I'm at in my life, and I'm like, I would like lower taxes, right? That would be great. Finances are important. My tunnel vision is for my kids. Yeah. That is my tunnel vision. And I think that's a general sentiment for parents across the country, and very unifying one.
Yeah, so, it is a unifying one. They'll be able to get a lot of the suburban women back. Mm-hmm. That's a winning strategy. I hope that they take that into account. They see Youngkin's strategy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It was hilarious seeing them melt down, calling them. This was a dog whistle for racism and white supremacy. CNN, man, their little sayings, man. This is a dog whistle. You're gaslighting. They always have these terms, man. It's hilarious. It's like, I say bring it on. Let them keep calling these parents racist. Let them keep calling these parents white supremacists. Yep. I love it. I think
you can only poke a bear so many times, right?
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah, I say, and like I said, a lot of these folks, Democrats are just handing out red pills when they do that. Red pills for free. You get a red pill. You get a red pill. You get a red pill.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's. I welcome it. Let them keep calling these parents racist. The same people that you won the last election are going to be leaving in droves. Yep. I saw this map where there was these arrows on different counties, and how they were trending or swinging, and every last one of those arrows were red and swinging to the right. Like they were swinging to the right, and it was like crazy. It was like that whole map was just like red arrow this way to the right. It was crazy.
You'll have to see it.
Yeah, it was remarkable.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for me. I don't want to talk about it now, but this week I do kind of want to touch on Rittenhouse court hearing, trial, all the above. So maybe we'll save that for the next one. But some hot topics coming in for sure. So,
what do you think? Does it look good for him or no?
I think so.
You
Honestly,
think it looks good for him?
I think that prosecutors did him all kinds of favors by like basically their whole opening statements are like, so you're already stating that he was in a dangerous situation, it's highly volatile. They're just, they did the defense's work for them already. So it's
I think a lot of people did say, I saw earlier that they were mad at the prosecutor because there's not that many black people on the jury. I think there's only like one black person on the jury. But if you got to put yourselves in the prosecution's, put yourselves in their position. Here you have one of the so-called, well, since the judge is not going to allow them to be called victims, I'm not going to call him a victim. I'm going to call him a rioter. This rioter,
That's what they were.
Yeah, that's what they were.
The prosecution labeled them as rioters.
They have to.
And looking for trouble. So I don't, this whole like, oh, they're not being allowed to call them victims. Well, yeah, you're not supposed to do that typically anyway. Because
what that does, it makes them out to be, in order to be a victim, you have to have
that's what they're trying to determine. Exactly. Was this a victim? Like, so you can't already be calling them
looter or a rioter.
Yeah. Which is accurate.
Yeah. So this particular person that is a rioter that Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed is a pedophile.
Rosenbaum.
Right.
Yep.
Pedophile, and he also walked around saying the N-word like freely, like it was just like whatever, which
he was aggravating the situation. Right. There's multiple. Did you know that he got out of a hospital for like mental issues, essentially? I don't know. Well, I don't know the details on that. That day, though, he had been released, and he like went directly to. He had never been to riots before, protests.
So he had no business being there.
He had no business being there. He just was looking for trouble.
Right. So the reason why they were mad, like I said, the only reason why I brought up the N-word was because my point was that people were mad at the prosecution for not putting on more black people on the jury. You think black people are going to be sensitive to a guy that walks around saying the N-word and also is a pedophile? That's like you're putting the prosecution in a tough position. So you're going to look like, Kyle Rittenhouse is going to look like, yo, this he's not that bad. If you're a black person, because black people, they think you got to look at a black person's thought process. Most black people, they think race first before anything. And the N-word is just like, you might as well drop an atomic bomb on them when you say the N-word to like the average black person. So if you got a guy, he's not going to be a victim in their eyes. He's going to be like, well, shoot, good, they shot him.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, that's why the prosecution was like, we can't have any black people on the jury.
That was smart move for them.
Yeah, so I give credit to the prosecution on that, from that standpoint.
So that is, yeah, they did do that well. So shifting to the defense a little bit, there was a lot of people that think, those who think that Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty were mocking the defense, saying like, you're claiming that using a skateboard is a deadly weapon because they came after Rittenhouse with a skateboard, right? A skateboard is a deadly weapon.
Whoa, they were arguing that it wasn't?
Yes. They're like, oh, the defense is trying to argue that a skateboard is a deadly weapon. What an idiot.
I have a gun, and you're coming at my head with a skateboard. I'm emptying the entire clip on you. You're coming at me, at my head. I can empty my entire clip on you for less than that. Like, if you're threatening my life, you don't even have to have a skateboard in your hand. You can have a knife, or you can have a hammer, or you can have whatever. You can come up with something less, and I can still be justified in ending your life. Yeah. Like, wow, I can't believe they would argue that. Like,
exactly.
A skateboard is, you can bash somebody's head in with a skateboard.
I feel so much more if I had to choose between a knife and a skateboard to walk through a city with, honestly, I would probably choose the skateboard. Yeah. It keeps people at a further distance from you. You have those big, gnarly metal trucks underneath. That you will crack a skull. Yeah. You swing that skateboard right, you could decapitate internally decapitate somebody. You can cause insane amount of head trauma.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw this rider swing and hit this police officer in the head with a skateboard. And if that police officer did not have a helmet on, he would have been dead.
Yes. Cracked.
He would have been dead.
Cracked. Yeah.
He swung that skateboard so hard. It was like a freaking teenager, 16-year-old teenager that had no business being out there. He was arrested and put in jail. But he had no business being out there. And the impact of that, if that police officer did not have a helmet on, it would have been, because the police officer, he was really shaken up by that, because he was making an arrest. He had the guy. I
remember that.
You remember that?
Yep.
And he hit that guy so hard. I was just like, damn, these people are crazy.
Yep. Crazy. Yeah. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this, but I want to be realistic, knowing the current climate of things. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Like, they, the current climate of things. You got it could be a situation where, there's a lot of pressure. We don't want Kenosha to burn down again. All this for a freaking why are we going? This whole thing.
I'm sorry, Jacob Blake.
Yeah.
Scumbag. Rosenbaum, pedophile, aggressive, scumbag. Yeah. What's the other one? Gage Guggenheim or whatever. He's the one that had a gun, right? Yeah. That went to go pull out his gun and shoot.
How can you not be justified in shooting this guy? And did you hear what he said after? He said he regretted not dumping his mag. He said he regretted that. So that right there, and he said it twice. Not only once, but he said it twice.
Yep.
And it's I don't understand how you can not be justified in stopping this guy from killing you.
Yep.
There's not, looking at that video and that situation, I don't think that he could have done it any better. I don't think that
Rittenhouse?
Rittenhouse. I don't think that he could have done it any better.
He had so much, he had trigger discipline. You see all this video, he had so much trigger discipline. You see there's one part that I think's super essential, and I hope I really hope that defense brings this up. There was another aggressor that was coming towards Rittenhouse. That as soon as he put his hands up, he saw Rittenhouse had the gun. He put his hands up and backed off.
Yeah.
Rittenhouse didn't shoot him.
Yeah.
He's not this maniac mass shooter. He was literally defending his life.
Yeah.
As soon as he saw that somebody was not a threat to his life, he didn't shoot him. He stopped because he had that discipline. It's split second. Okay, I see this dude coming at me with a skateboard. He's gonna bludgeon me in the head. There were shots fired at him. A gun was pulled on him. Those are all absolutely, without a doubt, justification for self-defense.
Here's another thing that's really pissing me off right now about the Republicans. See how everybody stood with George Floyd and what happened to George Floyd and all that stuff, and they go, this police officer is bad or whatever. The Democrats, came and galvanized, and they were like, yes, they didn't have any care about influencing the trial. They didn't care about that.
Yeah.
Because they felt that George Floyd was murdered, and they said they didn't care about, they made their voices heard. How come Republicans aren't coming out in defense for Kyle Rittenhouse the way that they did for George Floyd?
I don't know.
This is what pisses me off about the Republicans. They're so weak. They're so damn weak and pathetic. I'm ashamed that I'm forced to vote for this party. I'm so ashamed that I'm forced because the Democrats are so damn awful. If I had a third option, I would not vote Republican. I'm telling
with you.
I would not vote Republican if I had a third option. That's how weak and pathetic they are. They should be coming out in droves defending them. The video footage is out there.
Yeah, and the FBI just released that new footage.
Right. The Democrats didn't care about influencing the trial. They didn't care. Matter of fact, you had Democrats that came all the way from California, didn't care, way out of their jurisdiction. They came out and threatened, yo, if this outcome of this trial isn't the way that I want it, I'm going to have this city burned down.
Yep.
Literally, that's what they did. How come the Republicans aren't doing the same thing?
Yeah.
These Republicans suck, man. They suck.
I agree. I don't think that we should be threatening to burn down cities.
Hey, man, we need to come out with some fire, man.
Some fire, absolutely. And voices, right?
Yeah,
be a voice and stand up for this kid.
Yeah, they need to.
Young man, I should say now, but.
No, he's a kid. He's a kid. He's 17. He's a kid. He's a baby.
He's 18 now.
When the incident happened, he was 17.
And even 18, you're still a baby.
He's still a baby.
Yep.
And there's nobody coming out for this guy, for this baby.
No.
They came out all for this grown-ass scumbag George Floyd. I don't care what anybody says. He was a scumbag. But they stood behind this middle-aged dope fiend. And they burned down the entire country for this dope fiend. Why aren't the Republicans coming out for this kid that was only trying to protect his own life?
I would love to hear a good answer to that question.
There's nothing you can tell me that justifies them not trying to have some kind of influence. You should be trying to have some influence on this trial because the Democrats try to have their influence on the trial. They use all of their institutions. They use all of their power and might, everything, in order to get the results that they wanted.
Yep.
And it worked. Why can't the Republicans do the same thing? It's just, man. Oh, well, we can't speak on an ongoing trial. I'm not going to speak on it. And it's like, wow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yep. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we won't get that same
the reason why is the Republicans, they just care about what the Democrats say about them. They care about what New York Times is going to print out. Oh, look at this, the Republican that is coming out in defense of this white supremacist.
Right.
They care about that too much. They care about that too much, man. They care about what CNN is going to say about them. They care about what MSNBC is going to say about them. It's ridiculous, man. I'm sick and tired of these weak.
Yep.
I don't know.
So, yeah, I don't know. Either the Republican Party, which I mean, oh yeah, we can save this one for another conversation. But is the Republican Party going to reform? Right? Like, are we actually going to get out these rhinos? I'm hopeful, and I think that's the general shift. But are we actually going to be able to reform Republican Party? Like, I'm not a Republican, but I would like to see the Republican, like, I would like to have a party I could get behind.
Yeah, I don't consider myself a Republican either.
Yeah.
I think I'm too I'm too right wing for the Republican Party. And I'm too extreme for the Republican Party. And which is not even really all that extreme, but like I just want the same passion that is on the Democrat side to be on our side.
Yeah.
I want that same passion, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I would say that would make me an extreme. Yeah. That you can say, oh yeah, he's an extremist and he's on the right wing. But no, not really. I just want to push our agenda the same way they push their agenda. Yep. Why? They get it done.
Yep.
They get it done. Why are we not getting it done? Because we don't want to seem like extremists? Like, I'm past that. Like, I don't care if I seem like an extremist.
Well, so that's the question I'm trying to pose. Is like, okay, so do we continue to put all this energy into the Republican Party to try to hopefully get a party that we could get behind and call ourselves an official part of, or do we start building a viable third party?
Yeah. Now, I don't want to say that. I want to just kind of step back and say, to say that I don't care that I'm seen like an extremist doesn't mean that I am an extremist.
Right.
I just don't care if you think that I'm an extremist. I know that I'm not an extremist.
Yep.
I want basic, like, things. I want a conservative agenda. But I can't have that agenda pushed just sitting around and, like, being all nice about it. You can't be nice about it. You gotta, like, show, these are my values. This is my,
you want a party that plays offense.
Yeah, I want a party that plays offense. I'm tired of just playing defense. Like,
yeah.
And the Republicans have been defensive so long. Always been in the defense, which is remarkable. I don't even know how they win. It's crazy how it's because they have good ideas, but their messaging is terrible. The Democrats have bad ideas, but they have great messaging.
Yep. Great marketing goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. They're masters at marketing.
Yep. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. We're gonna call it a night. Glad you guys joined us again for another podcast.
Yes.
Until next time.
Yep. I
am signing off. Burning Spear Patriot.
And I'm signing off. Libby Lou Patriot. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.